Good afternoon and welcome back to Places in Ontario, Canada. There's Old Kingston Road. And there's the Melville Presbyterian Church that was established in 1852. And we're at 70 Old Kingston Road. And I guess I can say a little shout out to the Pastor Bethany McCaffrey. Sunday worship, 10 a.m. So, this church, steeple and all, that was established in 1852, has quite a large parking lot here, and the old brick church. Those classic glass windows. Historic site. Here you go. Melville Presbyterian Church. The congregation was established on February 3rd, 1852 by Reverend Thomas Wightman. This is a Scarborough historic site. Sorry, I forgot to say we're in Scarborough, Ontario, Canada. So, the Melville Presbyterian Church, the plaque says the frame of the church was built in 1851. The basement and the brickwork, 1885. The Christian Education Building, 1955. And the Centennial entrance, 1967. I'm going to assume we're going to come across some of that. And here's the Scarborough Historic Society plaque. The Melville Church, the first Presbyterian church in this area, a small frame building, was erected here in 1851 under the leadership of Thomas Wightman, pastor of Knox Church, Agincourt, and first minister of Melville, and elders William Young and William Ferguson. The site was the gift of George Stevenson, a Highland Creek miller. The original frame church was bricked over in 1887, and in 1899 a large manse was built nearby and presented to the congregation by John Sandy and James Nielsen. This was erected by the Scarborough Historical Society in 1977. So, it's going to pan back to where I was standing at the beginning. That's just at the top of Old Kingston Road, and the car that you see now coming towards us, and the other is going south down to the University of Toronto Scarborough campus, and that, if you keep following that road in the very far distance, you'll get to Morningside Road. So, they have a large graveyard in the back here, and we're going to go have a look. There's some people on bicycles. I'm going to just put it on pause. So, just before we go into the graveyard, I just wanted to film some of this old glass. It just says 1960s, 70s, maybe even the 50s. That sort of smoke-colored glass. You don't see that very often. Anyway, we're going to go into the cemetery here. There's a man over there chaining up his bicycle. So you can come up here and bike, or maybe you can't. It says warning, cemetery grounds closed. There's a giant bell in here at the entrance. And it says Melville Cemetery, which was established in 1885, extended in 1947, and the bell was purchased in 1887, and the Centennial Gateway, 1967, so this is obviously the Canada Centennial in 67, and that is the bell that was purchased in 1887. Okay, let's go for a walk through the cemetery. I have never been here. You're seeing it for the first time, just as I am. The very first tombstone here, sometimes I like to do that because it's right at the front, is in memory of William Henry Jacques, who was born in 1845 and passed away in 1907, and Jane Nielsen Jacques, who was born in 1846 and passed away in 1927. Again, always sad to see a tombstone so old, into the 1850s, that something's going to crumble and give way. Here's an old one right beside the ravine that you can see here. Don't want to go too close because, definitely don't want to be falling down in there. But this is for Elizabeth Gilmer, the wife of Charles White. She was born in 1821, passed away in 1909. These dates still amaze me. So this is in memory of John H. Lennox, who was born in 1861 and passed away in 1931, as well as his wife Estella May Mosher, who was born in 1871 and passed away in 1980. Wow, that makes her 100 and... Why can't I do math that quick? 109 years old. Wow. And Jean M. Robertson, the wife of John R. Lennox, at the top. He passed away in 1921 and was born in 1893. And the other names of Jean M. R. Young, who was born in 1921 and passed away May 2009, and the beloved wife of John R. Young, born December 1933, and there is no deceased date, so I will assume that gentleman John R. Young is still alive. So as we walk through the graveyard, I'm starting to see some very old tombstones. This is for Janet, the DYU, the daughter of Murdoch S. Christiana, Christena, Samaral. And Janet passed away in 1851 at 20 years old. So again, we're right here along the ravine. It's a beautiful cemetery. It's very well taken care of. Behind the church here, as you can see, just behind that green tree right in the center right now is where the colored glass was. I always like to definitely film extremely old tombstones. This looks like it was broken and it fell apart and they put it back together, but there is absolutely nothing that I can read on that. What a shame. Here's the tombstone for Alexander Nelson, John William, his son, and his wife. And I can't make out some of the dates. It looks like the top one, Alexander Nelson, passed away on November 5th, 1909. I was filming it more for the age, so at least 1909. So this is June 2021, and you can see all the moss and everything that's grown completely around this particular tombstone. There's a little bit on some of them, but this one has a lot of it. Quite interesting. And with the columns, oh, and look at that. There you go. We should have butterflies soon. So filming on an angle here, we see Brooks, Scott, and Crichton. And Agnes Blake Brooks, who was born in 1924 and passed away in October 10th, 1990. his beloved wife Nettie Scott. There is no date. Then beside that it says Captain William Scott. That has anchors on it. It says the lighthouse keeps shining. Captain William Scott, who was born in 1888 and passed away in 1958, and his beloved wife Catherine Thomas Stewart McLeish, who was born in 1884 and passed away in 1965. And the very last one, I'm going to move the camera because you can't even hardly see it. You cannot even see it, is the name Crichton. Pearl Scott, born 1924 and passed away in 1988, and the beloved wife of Arthur Harry Crichton, who was born in 1926, and he passed away 23 years later in 2011. And these are two tombstones side by side for the last name Hayes, in loving memory of Cornelius, who was born in 1915 and passed away in 1976, and Lillian. There is no birth or death date on it, and it says always in our hearts, and beside it, it says always sad, loving memory of our daughter Diana Patricia Hayes, who was born on October 28th, 1947, and she passed away 6 years later and a couple of days on October 30th, 1953. So if you're a regular viewer of my channel, you'll know that anytime I see a Canadian soldier tombstone, I will always film it. And here lays Garland Greening. It says Newfoundland Forestry Unit, born in 1917, passed away 2002, and as always, least we forget. So here's some more of the ravine with all the trees. It's just rained about 3 or 4 hours ago, and I want to just show you the angle as we're in the back of the cemetery now. I always say we, but I'm sure by now my loyal viewers know that by we I mean all you viewers and myself. So there's an old shed here, a wooden shed, very old, that I would assume houses the lawnmowers and trimmers and all that type of thing for the cemetery. Because I am in the back of the cemetery now and about to, whoa, yeah, we don't want to go over here too soon. Yeah, wow, is this ever high up? My goodness, there's an interesting tree. Wow, now there's something you don't see every day. Look at that. Sorry about turning the camera, but sometimes I do that just to get the whole thing in. And another stone monument. It looks like it says Grace. That could be the last name on it. It says Return. Oh no. I've never seen a tombstone crated in a cemetery. Is that ever interesting? Now I know how they're delivered. They're quite heavy, so they must have been brought here with some sort of a small forklift truck. So this is the back of the cemetery, and I'll work my way. Did I just stumble with my wording? Yes, I really don't edit. It's a lot more fun that way. So, actually right in front of me, the last name Hunter, in loving memory of Edward Hazlitt, who was born in 1910 and passed away in 2006. And Mary Helena, who was born in 1908 and passed away in 1989. I can't film all of them, but I must say there's some more evidence of moss back here. And it's an interesting tombstone. It's quite nice. This is for the last name Prentice, in loving memory of Marguerite G. Greenard, who was born in 1894 and passed away in 1966, the beloved wife of Alex G. Prentice. William Ronald and Robert Bruce, killed in action in Europe, 1942 and 1943, ever remembered. Oh, I just got a bit of a chill in my body because I wasn't expecting to read that. Oh. I like the fact at the bottom it says ever remembered. I'm going to film it for a few extra longer, again, not even English, for a few seconds for remembrance. Now this I've never seen. This is a tombstone for the family name Price. It's for Alfred William Price, who was born in 1915 and passed away in 2000. Margaret Mary Jacques, who was born in 1921 and died August 6, 2010. Glenn Jacques, who was born in 1949 and passed away in 1990. And Wayne Kenneth, who was born in 1953. And there is no date for the passing. Now, this is just me assuming that it's possible that Wayne Kenneth, or Kent, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, they have a wire fencing around the plants. That's a fantastic idea. So it keeps all the animals away, and if, just, it's a lot cleaner. Wow, is that ever interesting? I've never seen anything like that. This is for the Wilson family in loving memory of William Alexander, who was born in 1941 and passed away in 2012, and Irene Margaret Horner, who was born in 1944 and passed away in 1999. And below, it says, I can't make out the first word, but it says, in God's garden. And it's nice to see that people still remember after all these years, as they should, and bring candles and little trinkets for the departed. So, with the view of the back of Melville Section D and Melville Section A, over in that area was the last tombstone that I filmed. I'm going to now walk back out of the cemetery. Hopefully it's not too shaky, but the ground is even-ish, I should say. Or maybe it's me with my hand shaking. Okay, that was me with shaking the hand on purpose, of course. Well, I must say, this is a beautiful cemetery here. And I looked at every tombstone, and there was only one gentleman in here. Well, I shouldn't say one. There was one Canadian soldier's tombstone until I saw the other one with the two sons that were killed in action in I believe it was 42 and 43. So definitely World War II. So I'm going to say goodbye from places in Ontario, Canada, and this place is Scarborough, Ontario, Canada, at the Melville Presbyterian Church. There's that glass. It's fantastic. Let's see if I can get a close-up of this glass. I'm just going to walk along the side. Look at that. It's amazing. So, nice old house across the road. I'm going to leave you once again from Places in Ontario, Canada. If you'd like to subscribe, please do. In the bottom right corner, you'll see the outline of Ontario with the word subscribe. Please just click that box and you've subscribed. It's that easy. So, as I say goodbye, I'm going to show you the cars going down the valley of Old Kingston Road. Well, and they're also going up. That's the view from the church here and the old house across the road. So, with that said, I hope to see you back. Have a wonderful day.